This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
On top of the wave, on top of the team, on top of the days, on top of my purpose. I create. Y'all wanna copy, but we're not the same. Sometimes when it can be dark, sometimes when it can be scary, sometimes you still gotta push on and just do what is necessary. You need that mindset, dog. You're just like a mercenary. You just gotta go push on. You just gotta go and get it. You gotta go be so fly. People around, they ask you why. Yeah, what is the reason you do it? Yeah, what is the reason you even try? It is cause I need me a purpose. I need a decent life. I don't wanna be so basic. I just wanna go and fight. I really wanna give it all. I really wanna go all in. Yeah, I'm really gonna be that guy at the top that's not gonna be falling. So I'm just gonna be that leader. Man, I will be shot calling. So I'm back with a pack of my wolves, but you won't hear us hauling.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it. You know it. I know it. We all know it. It doesn't matter who's on this side. It matters who's on that other side. Either taking a listen or watching it from the other side of the equation. Anyways, today is Thursday, February, yes, the 2nd of 2023, day 33 of the year, and only 332 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Freeform radio never sounded this great. Or has it? Radio Big.
I don't know. I mean, who decided on what the sound is going to be like? Maybe that's the other side of the equation of stuff to think about. So anyways, how has the last 23 hours been for you? I hope it's been grand. I will tell you, yesterday, the exercise of going out there to the Florida Trucking Association Safety Summit. It was the inaugural. I will tell you, I had a good time. It was one of those things that it had been a while that I got to go somewhere and participate, meaning as an attendee, meaning I got to sit back and do much of nothing besides enjoy what the speakers had to say. Now, between you and I, there is some great technology that's going out there right now in the trucking industry, and there was a couple of speakers that after they were done speaking, I was super impressed with what the hell they had going on. And I am working on getting them over to the Jay Allen show on Safety FM, so that way we can actually do some of the stuff that we do over there, interview style. Because, it never hurts to do a good interviewee from time to time, because, that is part of the equation of the things that people want to know about. What's going on inside of the different industries. And I will tell you, technology-wise, some of the stuff that's out there is super impressive. I will tell you that when I used to do transportation work as an employee-employer relationship, I'm just amazed on some of the things that have come down the pipe. So there you go. So Florida Trucking Association Safety Summit. If it's, if you're in Florida and you're into that kind of stuff, might be something worth you taking a look at, that's for sure. and we'll see what happens from there. Anyways, going forward, let's talk a little bit. If you want to interact with the show, it is not difficult to do. It's a pretty easy process. Matter of fact, if we're kind of throwing down on what needs to be done, all you need to do is go to callinradio.com. That's Call-In Radio. That puts us through the little system and gets you moving and grooving. That's kind of the easiest way to do it, so it's not a problem there in that particular regards. The other side of the equation of what you're able to do, if you're so inclined to do so, is that you can watch the visual aspect of what we have going on, and you can do that at either Safety FM or going to radiobig.fm. So, I mean, there you go. Either one. SafetyFM.com, safety.fm if you want to. And you can click on the section that says Visual Radio. Visual Radio, and that will get everything moving and grooving for you. So anyways, let's talk real quick about the things that we have on the tap for you today and the things that were possibly trending. So let's talk about a combination of those things right now. That way you know.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so we'll talk about the stuff that we're going to, spill the deeds on. And we're going to talk about going bankrupt with billions in the bank and tracking down some missing monkeys. Yes, if you didn't hear this story, I'm sure you're going to like it. More confusion about who has what documents following the FBI raid on yet another household. We'll talk about that if we get a little bit swampy. And also, Tom Brady and Ozzy Osbourne were trending yesterday after their announcements of their retirements. Yeah, we'll explain a little bit on both if you're not familiar. And Damar Hamlin teams up with the American Heart Association to spread CPR awareness. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. If you're not familiar with the show, let me tell you what we do here. We talk about safety in the news and safety. We combined everything that's going on. That way you have a little bit more to discuss when you're having conversations with your team members. That way you can move forward. You never know what the hell's going on before you just start spreading the rest of the message. In that interim time, we do bring in some professional broadcasters for them to tell you what is going on in a professional matter, which that is something that I don't do because I don't think I've ever considered myself a professional anything. Maybe a professional asshole. Maybe that's what I've been a professional about. So that's how we do it. We tie it all in together. We bow it up, package it up, and go, run forward and prosper. And then you go from there, and we say, let it go. Let it go. One more time, let it go. So there you go. That's what happens inside of this show. Let's see what happens on your side of the woods. So let's get you into some news real quick, because I think that this is going to be important for us to be able to move forward in the world and prosper.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. The White House says Congress needs to do its job when it comes to the debt ceiling.
It is their basic job, Congress, right? It is their basic duty to lift the debt ceiling. It is something that has been consistently done over the years.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says there's no reason for congressional Republicans to delay. She stressed the Biden administration has been clear that this needs to be done without conditions. The White House counsel's office says President Biden is fully cooperating with the Justice Department's investigation into how he handled classified documents. White House counsel spokesman Ian Sams said the administration is following the DOJ's lead to ensure there's a thorough review. His remarks came just hours after the FBI searched Biden's home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and found no classified materials. Sams dodged questions on whether any other locations have been searched by authorities. The Federal Reserve is raising interest rates again to bring down inflation.
The FOMC raised our policy interest rate by 25 basis points.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said while inflation is indeed slowing, it still remains too high. He said he anticipates ongoing hikes will be needed to bring inflation down to the Fed's 2% goal. Yesterday's hike marks a further slowdown in the Fed's pace of rate increases. The Fed raised rates by 50 basis points in December and 75 basis points several times last year. The House is passing a bill that would end the COVID national emergency that was declared in March of 2020. The joint resolution cleared the House by roughly 30 votes. It would terminate the COVID national emergency once enacted, but it's not expected to move in the Senate. And the Powerball jackpot is up to an estimated $700 million after nobody matched all 6 numbers on Wednesday night. The next drawing will be Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. The lump sum cash payout would be more than $375 million. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. The US has struck a deal to access 4 more military bases in the Philippines. Ukraine says it believes Russia will launch a major new offensive around the anniversary of the invasion on the 24th of February. Oil giant Shell's reported the biggest profit in its 115-year history, and India's Adani Group has called off a high-stake share sale as it battles widespread allegations of fraud.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
A group of conservative House Republicans wants to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Lisa Taylor has more.
Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs said he's introducing articles of impeachment against Mayorkas, who's faced sharp criticism over his handling of the U.S.-Mexico border. Biggs said he's hopeful Speaker Kevin McCarthy will back the move. He made the announcement alongside several Republicans, including Representatives Lauren Boebert of Colorado and Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. Greene accused Mayorkas of failing to secure the border, resulting in a spike in illegal immigration and drug trafficking. I'm Lisa Taylor.
The Philippines is granting the U.S. more access to its military bases. Manila announced the move today as it grows more concerned about China becoming more assertive in the disputed South China Sea and tensions over democratically ruled Taiwan. The U.S. had announced it's investing more than $82 million in infrastructure at 5 bases covered by the Enhanced Defense Cooperative Agreement that the two countries signed in 2014. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was in Manila for talks about extending U.S. security options in the Philippines to deter any moves by China against Taiwan. The NFL community is reacting in a big way to Tom Brady's announcement that he's retiring from the NFL. Ryan Shook reports.
The quarterback spent most of his career with the New England Patriots, and the team tweeted he's forever a legend. Fellow recent retiree J.J. Watt called Brady the greatest of all time. He added there's no doubting that statement. Drafting Brady also paid big dividends for those who played fantasy football. ESPN's fantasy sports account tweeted Brady scored almost 6,000 fantasy points throughout his career for players who drafted him in their leagues. I'm Brian Shook.
And social media influencer Andrew Tate will be staying exactly where he has been for the past month, locked up. This after a Romanian court on Wednesday upheld a second 30-day detention for Tate, who faces allegations related to organized crime and human trafficking. He'll be in custody until at least February 27th. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Bringing you information you never knew you cared about. Rated R Safety Show.
With streams so crisp that you can feel the sarcasm in your ear holes. Radio Big.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Okay, men, This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so hopefully it's a pleasure for you as you hear that sound. Anyway, it's currently 19 minutes past the top of the hour. Yes, that is 19 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out and doing all the fun stuff that you would be able to do on a Thursday, which I'm not sure what that exactly is, but I'm sure there's some fun stuff out there to do. I don't know. Anyways, let's get into it real quick. Let's talk about what's going on inside of the world of the shit list because, hey, that is what we do around here. A recent court filing reveals that FTX had $1.43 billion in cash on hand at the end of 2022 across all of its companies and subsidiaries. The company also lost about 125 employees, either through firings or voluntary quits. So worth noting here, the point of a corporate bankruptcy this size is to determine how much of the assets can be recouped and sold off to make creditors whole. Every day, every month, and every quarter that passes dragging out of this process means more money for lawyers to prepare court filings like these and not paying money back to the creditors. And because of the bureaucracy and hellacious process of bankruptcy, no one else will see a dime until the judge signs off on a repayment plan, at which point lawyers will have already taken, well, their fees. I won't say they're exaggerated fees, but I'll say their fees. So, this is how outdated our bureaucratic systems are in regards on how some of this stuff works. Sometimes I take a look around and go, well, how the freak are we going to be able to move forward with some of this stuff? Maybe that's one way to look at it. Anyways, take a listen to this. Despite reporting that another quarter of declining revenue, Meta stock ticked up 20% after hours on Wednesday as the company leadership promised to pursue efficiency in 2023. In a statement, Mark Zuckerberg said that finding efficiencies would be a broad management theme in 2023, making the company a stronger and more nimble organization. So, I want to make sure that I understand this. So, if I tell people that I am going to focus on being more efficient, that would make my stock go up. I mean, it's kind of a weirdy one if you kind of think about it in the long run, but I guess that's what's going on. So doing okay, the company still has plans to spend about $33 billion on capital expenditures this year, which is pretty healthy budget by any standards, even if you're, if you're less than what was planned. $33 billion. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I know they're a juggernaut, but holy crap, man. $33 billion. The company laid off 11,000 people towards the end of last year, too. So keep that stuff in mind as we are talking about it. I just don't want you to think that it's like, they haven't been efficient, but I don't know if the layoffs played in a factor. I mean, there is just a lot of weird stuff going on inside of that world when you really start thinking about it.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so for my coffee aficionados out there, take it easy on the next comment that I have here. Drinking too much coffee looks to be very bad for those with high blood pressure. A new study by the Journal of the American Association finds that drinking 2 cups of coffee or more a day can double the risk of death from heart-related disease in those who have severe high blood pressure. Worth noting, if you just have high blood pressure, not severe high blood pressure, you're still in the clear. No, think about that. That's what it says. So for those with severe high blood pressure, you're still just good with just 1 cup a day of Joe. I don't know. I don't drink any of it. I don't drink coffee. It's just not my it's not my preferred method. I'm more of the liquid death kind of person. Take it for that for what it's worth. So there you go. Anyways, United Kingdom is implementing the Electronic Travel Authorization Program, or ETA. Yeah, ETA. That will apply to visitors from abroad, including the United States, likely by the end of the year. The program will require international visitors to apply for permission to enter the country a few days before their flight and pay a relatively nominal fee once approved. However, the authorization will be good for 2 years, saving some hassle and frequent flyers. Worth noting, airlines will likely implement a program to ensure travelers have completed this step, but like they have required COVID vaccinations and travel information to comply with international entry. So there you go. Some stuff to think about as we are talking. So what do you think about it? Do you like the digital aspect? I'll tell you, when I go down to Mexico, kind of a cool thing to do. I like it. That's my thing. And when I go down there, I always think it's kind of dumb that you have to fill out the card on the plane on the way there, unless you're going to some of the major points where you can do it now digitally. But I thought it was always so weird that I had to fill out the card. And I will tell you, I did a dumb move the last time that I went. I forgot to take a pen with me, which is kind of a rarity, but I didn't have a pen with me and I couldn't fill out the card. And then I had to stand in line to get into a line for pens because the flight attendants didn't have pens to pass out. Yeah, don't even ask me about that because I was not a happy camper on that day as we were talking about it. Duh. Okay, so let's get into some other things. Take a listen to this. Someone is on a monkey thieving spree. A zoo in Louisiana reports that 12 squirrel monkeys were kidnapped out of their enclosure over the weekend. Officials are reviewing security footage to identify the potential suspects. Meanwhile, a pair of Imperial Tamarin monkeys are missing last week at the Dallas Zoo, but the pair was found on Tuesday at an abandoned home outside of Dallas. Again, no suspects in the case. What the freak are you stealing monkeys for? Yeah, monkey in the middle. Anyways, it gets even weirder. An endangered vulture was found dead in Dallas Zoo on January 21st and had an unusual wound. And earlier in January, a leopard escaped the enclosure of the fence that it was intentionally cut. Worth noting, apparently any suspect tried for the theft would face a basic burglary charges, and they aren't animal-specific statutes on the book. Listen, I spent a lot of time in Texas. I'm going to say that, and I mean that with the best of things. And you know, some of the knowledge base that I got about life came from being in Texas. But I will tell you, if I don't think I'd be going to the Dallas Zoo with everybody trying to do all the weird stuff over there. And I definitely don't want to hang out near any enclosures that has anything to do with leopards that has recently been cut open, because that just sounds like craziness to me.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. Ahead of next month's Oscars, we're reviewing all of the Best Picture nominations. And first up, a review is Tar, a psychological thriller starring Cate Blanchett, and the helm writer by director Todd Field. It's an interesting study of power and corruption that turns to the typical tropes of their head. So I don't know. I don't know if that would be something that you would want to take a read of, but hey, maybe it's something to consider. Something to consider. What is this? CBS morning correspondent Vladimir Duty's and wife Marianne Wang, who produced Last Week's Tonight with John Oliver, have welcomed their first daughter to the world. The new parents tell People magazine that the girl is named Celine Marie Wessing Wang. Wow, okay. So there you go. That's some baby news. I didn't know I was getting baby news right there, but I guess there it is. Anyways, 27 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's get into this real quick, because I think that this is going to be important. Why do I think it's going to be important? Because we're talking to John Smalls.
Minute for Thursday, February 2nd, 2023. Equity markets cheered a 25 basis point interest rate hike from the FOMC Wednesday and drove the S&P 500 up more than 1% on the news. However, the takeaway from the statement is that the FOMC will continue to hike rates for the foreseeable future. In this light, the good news is bad because the FOMC still pressures the economy. The bad news is the economic pressure is cutting into the S&P 500 earnings, which will bring the index and the market down. The caveat for traders is the S&P 500 failed to cross above resistance. The index moved up but did not cross the 4150 level and then closed off on the day's high. This is evidence of resistance at a key level and a potential peak for the market. However, a move above 4150 would not get the market in the clear because another key level of resistance is just above the 4300 level. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information. Listen, I love the delivery there. I love what he talks about because, hey, it's important to talk about what the hell's going on in the market. So let's do this real quick. The Dow added about 6 points on Wednesday to close at 34,092. The S&P added about 42 points to close at 4,119. And the NASDAQ added about 231 points. West Texas Intermediate closed at $76 a barrel. Brent crude closed at $83. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.50 as of Wednesday. Bitcoin added about $500 on Wednesday, trading just around $23,700. There was more than 3,300 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, with more than 2,370 cancellations due to the icy weather that continued to upend travel around. Also, in some other news, a winning ticket on Tuesday night's $31 million Mega Million drawing was sold at a gas station and Woburn, Massachusetts. Friday night's drawing will be for $20 million jackpot or a $10.6 million cash payout. So there you go. If you want to play the game, you still have time to do so. There is no doubt about that as we are talking. Anyways, taking a look around at some news that is going on. 2 hospitals in Iowa are getting federal funds to help recruit and fill medical residency positions.
I'm proud to say that Iowa was very competitive and got 6 new medical residency slots out of 200. They happen to be Methodist Medical Center Des Moines and Mercy One in Waterloo.
Senator Chuck Grassley says that 800 more Medicare-funded positions will be awarded in the next years. He also says that the hospitals need to apply to be eligible for the remaining slot. Also, the senator went as far as to say, as a part of the bill passed in 2020, that they will add 1,000 positions to the country's health care workforce.
1,000 additional slots is the largest increase in Medicare-funded residency slots in over 25 years.
Grassi says also that the bill is critical.
These are residency slots that will exist in perpetuity. So when these doctors graduate, these hospitals will continue to have access to funding for future slots.
Senator Chuck also talked about what the bill is designed to do.
They must award the new slots with an emphasis for training future doctors for rural and underserved communities.
So there you go. Some stuff going on right there as we are talking. Take a listen to this. A Des Moines, Iowa woman is $250,000 richer, winning the top prize for Iowa Lottery Extreme Cash Scratch Game. Dave Bohl reports.
Jennifer Akers bought the winning ticket at the Price Chopper on Ingersoll Avenue in Des Moines. Other Iowa Lottery winners include 2 men from Maquoketa splitting a nearly $31,000 prize, as well as a woman from Spragueville who won $10,000 from the scratch game. I'm Dave Bohl.
So there you go, playing the game. So let's talk about some stuff that you don't normally talk about, and that's some space junk. Yeah, some space junk. You know what I'm talking about there. There's a lot of stuff floating around in space, some good, like planets, some bad, like leftover satellites and rocket parts. Bree Tennis has more information. Take a listen to this.
27,000 pieces of junk floating in space. So much junk that the Department of Defense keeps highly accurate tabs on what's there to avoid collision. Because when space junk hits space junk, more space junk happens. NASA says the junk will eventually re-enter the atmosphere and burn up, so it's not littering. But the Royal Astronomical Society in the UK says all that space junk is making it harder for them to monitor signals from other civilizations. No kidding, they're looking for aliens. Bree Tennis, NBC News Radio.
So think about that for a moment. Your potential space junk could be blocking aliens. Thank you, space junk, for blocking potential aliens. I mean, think about it. Think about how that sounds. Just kind of one of those weird worlds of stuff that we talk about. Anyways, I think it's time for us to get into our main story.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So listen, there is times on this little showy-oey or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's definitely a radio show because I know I'm on radio. I'm on Radio Big. I'm on Safety FM. It is a podcast. But we get to talk about all kinds of interesting stuff. And sometimes we have to be speaking from experience about stuff. And sometimes we have to sit back and take pleasure in talking about certain things. And I look at this sometimes because our world is so weird in some of the things that we do that it's almost looked like that in a world where the line between reality and illusion sometimes seem to be a little bit blurred, it is important that we remain vigilant on our quest for safety. Think about it. I mean, think about some of the weird spots that you're in. Not sometimes, not every once in a while, but almost on a daily basis. It becomes very weird. So you can almost recall a time in a dystopian society not too different from your own. I mean, if you kind of want to play it almost like a novel, a movie, where things can change if we kind of went into the science fiction side of how you want to do storytelling, you could almost look at it as a dystopian society that is not too different from the world that we're in, where safety was a rare commodity. The systems in place were questionable, and the trust was hard to come by. In this world, a man and a woman, or a woman, however you want to look at it, faced with a choice to play it safe or take a risk. Now, the funny part is, when you think about it, that's really not a dystopian future. If anything, you might be sitting there thinking, well, that could be potentially a character, or it could be a real person. It could be a person in a book, or it could be the world that you're living in. But experience are lessons that people learn in the world that still holds true to them. And sometimes we want to, I guess, overemphasize some of the stuff that we take a look at. But you can almost put I'm not going to say a spin, but you can put different analogies that take place. Because I've heard speeches where storytelling becomes very difficult in regards of what's going on. And sometimes I think we need to simplify some of the information that we're sharing with our team members. And maybe if we simplified it, opposed to it trying to be some story that's some deep, dark secret and all this other stuff, what if we just kind of made it the way that it is? The world that we currently live in is very uncertain, and it's easy to become complacent in. And to accept the status quo and not to question systems in place, well, that could become a problem. But this is the moments that we need to take a step back and ask ourselves, is it really safe to do X? Are there safeguards in place as I am doing X? And understand that safety is not just about avoiding danger. It is also about being prepared for it. And this is where the safeguards play such a key factor into stuff. And you've noticed that this week in particular, hopefully you've noticed, that we've been talking a lot about safeguards. Because I think that there needs to be a huge emphasis on this. So it's about having the tools and the knowledge to make informed decisions as we go forward. And sometimes, depending on how you look at it, that's where humor comes in to when you're talking about this. In a world where everything is uncertain, sometimes the best defense that we have when we're talking to our leadership and our management and people that are part of our team is having a good sense of humor. Let's be realistic. Not all work is great. And not all work sucks. But laughter has the power to diffuse tension and bring people together when you think about it. And think about on how we do some weird things at work when you think about it. It allows us to see the absurdity in situations and find a way, but most importantly, it helps us take ourselves less seriously and, not to be afraid to take risks, because sometimes some of the work that we have to do is considered risky. So I guess if I need to really kind of sum this together, maybe our life is really about not being afraid of taking risks, but let's use our wit and humor to navigate on this uncertain world of safety that we have. Let's question the systems that are in place and always be prepared. And most importantly, let's not forget to laugh and put safeguards in place for the work that we get to do. Think about that today, because safeguards play such a huge factor into almost everything we do. How weird of a world do we live in where this gets to play a factor into what we talk about?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com/one. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces. Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
What is the reason you do it? What is the reason you even try? It is cause I need me a purpose. I need a decent life. I don't wanna be so basic. I just wanna go and fight. I really wanna give it all. I really wanna go all in. Yeah, I'm really gonna be that guy at the top that's not gonna be falling. So I'm just gonna be that leader. Man, I will be shot calling. So I'm back with a pack of my wolves, but you won't hear us hauling. On top of the morning, on top of the wave, on top of the team.
Oh Yes, you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show. Broadcasting from the Safety FM studios on Radio Big and Safety FM. It is currently 44 minutes past the top of the hour. And we are doing our Gigo. Yes, that's what's going on. Anyways, this song right here, this is On Top. This is by a group called God Mode. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes. You can give it a nice little streamer-eamer if you would like to do so. Would like to thank God Mode for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Jay Allen in the Morning Show, hour numero uno. So let's get into it. Let's talk. Let's move. Let's groove. Let's do the things that we do around here as we are hanging out and talking and taking a look and moving. I mean, there's so much stuff that it seems like we do inside of this little short first hour of ours. Yes, it is short. First hour is some things to talk about. So there you go. So let's talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime. And that is about my friends at the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. Or you have the option of calling 988, or you can text the word TALK to 988. Listen, this is such an important subject that we need to talk about it all the time. There should be no meeting that you go through that this is not discussed at some point, because this is a conversation that we need to talk about. People do have a hard time with things going on in life, and it's okay not to be okay. It is okay, and it is okay to talk to people about this. There are people available for you at the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, 988lifeline.org. Let's get into some more things that are going on inside of the world. So I gave some coffee drinkers this morning some bad news. Let me share some other news on the back end here. I like the sound of this. Adding some milk to your morning coffee may bring along some health benefits. 2 studies at the University of Copenhagen look at how the antioxidants that interact with amino acids, which can make up proteins, as part of the research involved in combining and drinking high of the polyphenols coffee with another rich in protein milk. The team up found the combination adding milk to your coffee can boost your body's anti-inflammatory response and the anti-inflammatory effects that may also occur when combining other types of food, such as meat dish with vegetables or a smoothie with milk or yogurt. Inflammation that can lead to several life-threatening illnesses, such as cancer or type 2 diabetes. Unfortunately, so can island of sugar that could put in where the milk is supposed to go. But that's good news, especially considering the effect of that on your heart when you see the new prices at Starbucks. So I guess that's all kinds of stuff to think about.
Duh.
Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about some other things that are going on inside of here. Rationing gas. Have you heard about this? Would you agree to suffer a bit during a surgery? It's good for the planet. Experts are recommending that doctors reduce their use of certain kinds of anesthesia to combat the effects of climate change. Dr. Mohammed Faid, a senior, oh my God, I can't even speak. You know, the person that gives you the stuff for you to go to sleep. Yeah, that stuff, that doctor that does that. So to combat the effects of climate change, he says that all you need to do is make suggestions during the American Society of the change in the industry of the annual conference last year. He admits that doing so would have a small benefit in the environment, but he also will add up that anesthesiologists should consider lowering their flow of anesthesia without affecting the patient's care. Studies have shown that inhaled lowering anesthesia accounts for about up to 0.1% of the world's carbon emission. An hour surgery using inhaled anesthesia is equivalent to driving 470 miles. I didn't know this. This is news to me. So when I'm out and I'm driving and I'm flying, okay. So yeah, I still think that the use of a full dose, if you want to save the planet, knock yourself out. You get it? If you want to save the planet, okay, cool. So cool. There you go. Let's continue talking about some other stuff that is going on inside of this world, though, because I always think it's important to talk about this. So let's take a look around real quick. Apparently, a lot of news coming out of Iowa this morning, but let me talk about some other things. The family of a 12-year-old boy who was shot by Illinois police officer back in 2019 is agreeing to a settlement. A lawyer for Amir Worship's family announced that the police in Richmond Park, South Chicago, will pay $12 million in a settlement.
Officer should not be able to shoot a 12-year-old child with an assault rifle for literally no reason.
The boy was shot by Officer Caleb Blood during a raid of the child's Markman home. Blood claims that the gun was defective and accidentally went off. Amir will require multiple knee replacements throughout his life. His mother called on the Cook County State Attorney to reopen the investigation into the shooting. I mean, that's kind of a weird one to talk about as we are having this discussion this morning. Take a listen to this real quick. Oil giant Shell is boasting its highest ever annual profits. Trey Thomas has more.
Just under $40 billion in profit for 2022. That's more than double the company's 2021 full-year profit of less than $19.3 billion. Shell reported adjusted earnings of $9.8 billion for the fourth quarter of 2022. I'm Trey Thomas.
So there you go. Oil prices continue to soar, and apparently people are making some record profits. So there you go. Anyways, a man is behind bars on suspicion of making criminal threats in Hollywood, California, but he'll likely be facing more serious charges after police recovered a stash of high-powered weapons from his apartment. LAPD Captain Raymond Valois says that the major tragedy was likely prevented.
The location of the weapons, the type of weapons, and what I've been told that these officers, I absolutely believe that they prevented a mass shooting type of event.
Police say that they found several high-powered guns inside of the man's apartment during a search, including some that were loaded and pointed out the window in the direction of a nearby park. They also found high-powered sniper and assault rifles, high-capacity magazines, a shotgun, handguns, more than thousands of rounds of ammunition, and body armor. Officers arrested the 24-year-old on Tuesday morning following reports that he was threatening staff members and other people in the apartment building. Investigators say that they linked him to a violent in nature criminal investigation out of state. Vallis says that the suspect had an assault rifles pointed out the window's apartment to the ceiling window.
A matter of time before something may have occurred that this suspect could have easily started shooting out of his apartment and caused a considerable amount of mayhem. Something similar to what happened in Las Vegas. I'm not aware of any specific motivation or motives. There's nothing in writing that I've been made aware of at this point. However, I cannot imagine a purpose for having these type of weapons in that type of
He was saying like that the CIA was watching him. It seemed kind of off and weird, but I didn't think anything too much of it because, you know, we're in Hollywood.
So there you go. They're trying to change the world out there in Hollywood. Wow. Interesting times for sure. Let's try to do something a little bit more positive. Let's bring in some John Small. Let him tell you about the market beat.
Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Barb. Winston Churchill said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." What a great quote. Also, be sure not to assume that you've succeeded too early. I saw a video this week that's worth watching. It's a compilation from a few years ago that shows one team after another and one person after another who, within inches of winning, they start to celebrate, and then somebody else ends up beating them. While they're showboating, second place takes the lead and wins the race. It is so hard to watch the video because, you know, they work their tails off to get to that place. Then they are literally within inches of success and they blow it. I've got a link to the video at motivationminute.org. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alasamorgan.com. Have you ever wondered why it can be so difficult to change our habits? There are numerous reasons from neuroscientific standpoint. One of them is that your brain actually rewards you every time you perform a habit, and it's all thanks to that feel-good hormone dopamine. It explains the satisfaction you feel after completing pleasurable activities, but it's also responsible for forming your habits in the process, enhancing the reward for certain actions without your awareness. To create a change in your habits, it's important to become aware of what is causing you to seek that reward in the first place. Existing research suggests we can tackle these problems by changing our sleep pattern, exercise, and stress levels. Meditation and yoga can be a great place to start. They help to decrease stress and increase willpower and overall brain health. For this and more information on wellness, please visit alasamorgan.com.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Apparently, I don't know how to say Motivation Minute. Anyway, so let's continue talking real quick as we are 55 minutes past the top of the hour. So yesterday it was announced that Tom Brady is retiring for good this time. The Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback announced the news on a video post on Twitter on Wednesday morning, confirming that he is officially done playing in the NFL. In response to the news, Brady's ex-wife, Gisele Bündchen, commented, "Wishing you only wonderful things in this new chapter of your life." It was exactly 1 year ago on February the 1st of 2022 when he announced his plans to retire the first time. But, I mean, I will tell you, I don't know if I would want to lose Gisele Bündchen for going back into the NFL. That's just me. I know I'm speaking out of turn there, that's for sure. Anyways, take a listen to this. Ozzy Osbourne is retiring from touring. The 74-year-old rocker shared the news on Twitter, telling his followers that he can no longer handle touring because of the damage to his spine from an accident he suffered years ago. Osbourne also has Parkinson's disease, so there you go. Unfortunate to hear, but glad that he is taking care of himself and being able to live a comfortable life going forward. Anyways, take a listen to this about some things that happened back in, let's see, at some point this during this day in many, many, many moons ago. Anyway, Allie Landry, 22, is crowned the 45th Miss USA. She also would go in to star in several Super Bowl commercials and be named one of People's Magazine's 50 Most Beautiful People and appear on several films and TV shows. That happened back in 1996. If you're looking at some birthdays that are going on today, let's jump around and get some of those. Julia Fox turns 33. Emily Rose, 42. Shakira turns 46 today. Christy Brinkley, 69. And Alan McKay turned 75 today. So there you go. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. There's quite a few. It's Groundhog's Day, Optimist Day, National Brown Dog Day, World Play Ukulele Day, National Crepe Day, National Hedgehog Day, Lung Leaving Day, National Tater Tot Day, National Sled Dog Day, World Wellness Day, and Margot Day. So there you go, all kinds of them as you are taking a look around. If you need a random joke for today, I have one of those for you. The trouble with getting to work on time is that it makes the day so long. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. If you could call any living person in the world and have 1 hour conversation, who would it be? Question for the water cooler. In a survey asking people to name the top ways they waste time, this came in at number 4. What is it? Sitting in traffic. Hopefully you're not doing that this morning as you're taking a listen to this. I've always been told not to mention that as you're taking a listen to what the hell's going on, because we should be having some fun together as we're doing it. Anyways, this has been the Rated R Safety Show. Thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, because we cannot do what we do around here without you. The most important part, the listener, and sometimes the viewer, depending on how you do it. Anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. True generosity lies less in giving and more in giving at the right moment. Think about that, because that's going to be important. Come over to radiobig.fm if you want to come hang out for the next couple of hours or so. Would love to see you there as we're doing our stuff on the music side of the equation. Always some fun times over there, or keep it locked here on Safety FM and take a listen to the Sheldon Primus Show and what the hell he has going on inside of the world of consulting. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.